Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Friday, December 17th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you are somebody that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. Before I get to the stocks, just want to personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online class that I'm offering. So if you're liking what you see and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then help me get signed up for the class. Now, one note, depending on when you watch this, maybe you already have missed the class if you're watching this Friday morning, or maybe you just already have something on your schedule and you can't quite make it. In either of those events, just drop me an email, clay at claytrader.com. It will be recorded, and after the recording is uploaded, after the event is actually done, then I'll email that directly to you. So like I said, if you can't quite make it, either because you missed it or you just have something else on your schedule, go ahead, send me an email, clay at claytrader.com, and after the event's done and recorded, then I will send you a recording of it. A couple quick clarification points before we get to the stocks here. First off, I will be doing the 30-minute time frame. So what that means if you're new to charts is that each one of these candlesticks, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. And then next, the market is still open for a little while. So that final candlestick right there, as I go through the different charts, will still be moving. But I like to do these when the market's still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting price movement. But it is near enough to where the market's going to be closed, where the levels I talk about will still be relevant here on Friday. So first one here, ticker symbol ADGI. And what a huge move it made today. Big explosion upwards. And has now basically spent the latter part of the day consolidating out, which makes for some very, well-defined areas. And well-defined areas are great because you know that a bunch of people are watching them, paying attention to them. And when people around the world are watching the same areas, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy. Call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So the first level here that I think a whole lot of people are going to be watching. So if you're some sort of pullback player or if you like to play things from the short side, then right around this 1270 mark is an area that makes a lot of sense to watch because you can see here several times the price has bounced right off that area. So while nothing is guaranteed, is it at least valid? Is it logical to think that if the price were to come back down to that area and break down through it, that could, create a lot of downside pressure? Yeah, so from the short side, that makes sense. But it also makes sense to think, well, no, I don't think it's going to break. I think it could bounce. So both of those are valid. And of course, somebody's going to be right, somebody's going to be wrong. And that's why risk management matters. But the core premise there is that by no means is $12.70 some sort of random area. There's a whole lot of logic that goes behind that. Then on the flip side of things, as far as resistance areas are concerned, let's change that up. There we go. Key level of resistance to watch going to be right up there at $15.50. You can see that the last time the price broke above it, made a nice move. Unfortunately, came back down. But if the price can return back up to that area and get a break up through it, then that could, very well continue to create more surges of momentum. But moral of the story, this is definitely one that should be on the watch list on Friday. Next one here, let's talk about the NASDAQ via the QQQ. And just if you're a beginner at QQQ, it's just an ETF that's basically telling you what's going on with the NASDAQ market and all the tech stocks. And it was a very rough day. I mean, there's no doubt about that. A pretty crazy day when you think about just how much the price came up and then really collapsed right there. However, it's not as bad as what a lot of people are saying. Now, it could get worse, but from a technical point of view, it's not as bad as it feels. And what do I mean by that? Well, let me get this line in play here, and you'll hopefully see that, yeah, I get it. Things have dropped quite a bit, but notice where the trend line is still at. The trend line is still, even after today's big pullback, putting in higher bases. So in other words, the price is still actually making progress in the upwards direction. Now, it would have been, the chart obviously would look a lot better had the price not come all the way down here. But my core point here is it total freakout mode? Is it, complete just bloodshed for the NASDAQ? You can't quite go that far. Now, if on Friday the price comes down to that trend line and then just blasts down through there, okay, at that time, now it's starting, it would make more sense to be a lot more bearish on things. So I'm not saying you can't be bearish. I'm just saying don't get too caught up in things because you do have to, acknowledge the fact that even with that big pullback, there is still an upwards trend. And I think a whole lot of people will be watching that trend line right there. But yeah, if the price comes down there and certainly breaks down below 384, that could very, very well create another big wave of downside selling pressure. And, the tech stocks could, very realistically take another big hit. But like I said, you don't want to put the cart before the horse. Let's see if the price can even break down below that trend line. Next one, AMC, and a pretty boring day, but I say that as a compliment because boring in these sorts of situations is just fine as opposed to some sort of, volatile day where the price just rolls back over and crashes back down. I mean, think about what the NASDAQ market did. NASDAQ market, you just saw that chart, and that didn't do anything of the sort. I mean, sure, it pulled back a little bit, but you can also see that, this pullback was not even close in the same ballpark of being in the same, dramatic fashion as the NASDAQ. So overall, like I said, sure, it wasn't too exciting today. It was a boring day, but all things considered, overall the chart held up just fine. And from a technical point of view, you got to like the fact that the price, not only, held above that purple line, but it was actually put to the test, right? So midday, price came down to that 50-period moving average. And as I talked about in past videos, now that the price is above there, you would want to see that act as support, and that is exactly what happened. So a classic example there on the power of charts. But just from kind of an overall health perspective, good to see that the price continues to hold above that area, because as long as it does, then that does symbolize that this current bounce right now is maintaining some bullish momentum. And the current value of that purple line, again, the 50-period moving average, right there at the $24 mark. So continue to watch that. As far as areas of resistance are concerned, the main level here to keep an eye on from more of an overarching standpoint, going to be right up there at, let's see, what is that? 26.25. So keep a close eye on that. But in my opinion, the most important dynamic is staying above that purple line. And as long as that's the case, then like I said, you got to give the bulls the advantage of saying that they still have some good, healthy momentum. Next one, SNDL, and I'll state the obvious right up front. Very, very impressive bounce. Actually started on Wednesday and then just got more continuation today. But the big question mark now moving forward has everybody's eyes right there on that pink line, which on my chart denotes the very famous 200-period moving average. So going back to that talking point from earlier about self-fulfilling prophecies, there's a lot of people that use the 200-period moving average, and a lot of people are going to be watching that level, which is right up there around the 59-cent mark. So 59 cents, definitely going to be public enemy number one, and the big level where, again, no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it rational to think that if the price comes up to that level and break through it, that break could create quite a bit of upside buying pressure? Yeah, that is a more than plausible thought process to have. So keep an eye on that. And then like AMC, as far as supports are concerned, just continue to watch that purple line, which, like I said, with AMC, check it out. Price pulled back. Found some support right there at that purple line with a nice move back upwards. Purple line currently valued at 56 cents. So 59 cents, key level of resistance. 56 cents, key level of support. Next one, KXIN, and very interesting dynamic here that's going on. And, I don't want to say it's ruining the chart, because that's not true. It's not ruining anything, but it's kind of putting a little damper on what I wanted to talk about. Because what I want to talk about, what I was planning on saying is, okay, well, you have this very nice, very well-defined top part of this consolidation area right up here at $1.65, but you can now see, which is why I also like to do this when the market's still open. But as of right now, the price is actually having broken above that level of resistance, which is a good problem to have, right? Because now you're able to ask the question of, okay, well, is this the start of something bigger? Now think about it. You can't ask that question unless something happens in the first place. But the quote-unquote something has happened, that happening being, well, the price is now up above $1.65. Now, the part that I'm jealous about is that by the time you watch this, you're already going to know what happens. You're going to know how far up this breakout actually goes. But the moral of the story there is that the further the price gets up above $1.65, that just represents the more strength, the more health that is behind this current momentum, that's lifted the price up through that area. So keep an eye on that dynamic. And then if the price does pull back, the very well-defined area of support right now, all about that pink line there, 200-period moving average. And check it out. The price just cruised right above there before getting this, late day upwards movement right there. So again, main dynamic is, okay, let's see how far the price can get up above $1.65 now. But if it does pull back, then you have that $1.55 mark as the main area of support. Next one, APTO, and not a whole lot of people talking about this one. I mean, there are people talking about it, but it doesn't seem like it's really in proportion to, how nicely this chart is looking. But the chart is looking nice because the price has now actually been able to break up above that $1.40 mark, which now just makes that a key level of support. Nothing fancy there, just a foundational rule that when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So if there are any sort of pullbacks, $1.40 going to be that main area of support to keep an eye on. And then as far as next potential areas of resistance, and I'm not saying that this is what's going to happen, but just to illustrate the idea here, that the price is essentially in almost a blue sky, miniature blue sky breakout territory. By breaking above that level, it gave it access to this whole gap area. Now, do gaps have to close? Absolutely not. Nothing has to happen in the market because that would imply that there's guarantees. But yeah, they do fill. So again, does that mean that the price is for sure going up to $1.90? I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that, again, getting in the realm of, okay, is that at least a plausible thought process to have? It absolutely is. So keep an eye on that because, like I said, if this breakout is just getting started, and if it can, sure, it may need to pull back here, and then if it can recover back up, but definitely some upward strength today, upwards momentum. So given that the price is now, like I said, within that gap region, let's see if it can build upon the momentum for Friday. Next one here, AAPL Apple. Now, this is not shocking after we already went over the NASDAQ, the QQQ chart. Almost mirror image, right? Nice move to start and then has really just fallen downwards. And while I can feel like, it's end of the line for Apple, you got to keep in mind that you still have this very sturdy, very famous 200-period moving average, which I've already talked about before. So it's not like the price was up here and then came all the way down here and crashed down through there. Now, if on Friday, again, the price comes down there and then, blast down through the 200 period, okay, at that point, you can start to say, okay, maybe the bulls are finally out of strength on this current run, and maybe things are about to turn around. But like I said, in my opinion, that's a little too premature because the price, you got to give credit where credit due, is still up above that, long-term moving average right there. But as far as key levels of support, definitely that 169 mark will be the main area because, again, that's the current value of that 200 period moving average. If the price does continue to try to bounce upwards, which it's doing right now, then that main area of resistance is going to be right there. Can the price break through it? That area being the 50 period moving average valued at 175. So again, 169 key level of support, 175 key level resistance on Apple. But let's see if today is just kind of a knee-jerk reaction or if it is the start of a bigger push to the downside. Next one, TSLA Tesla, and traded this one today. It treated me pretty well on it, but could have been better. Regardless, point being, I like Tesla. I almost trade it every day. So I'm just going to map out the levels that I'm going to be paying attention to, and you can agree or disagree with them. That's fine. No offense will be taken, but these are the levels that I think myself and a lot of other traders will be thinking. Because as a trader, that's what I want. Where are those self-fulfilling prophecy type areas, and the level that I think a whole bunch of people will be watching and what they've done. Come on, there we go. They've drawn in that trend line right there. Look at that trend line. Look at how absolutely perfect the chart or the price has respected that. Again, our chart's perfect? No, but I mean, that's crazy to think that if you use those 2 points right there and, projected that out, it forecasted that right there. And the current value of this trend line, give or take, going to be right around 925. So a level that I think long, shorts, everybody in between is going to be watching on Friday is that $925 mark. So let's see that, how the price behaves if it goes down to that area. And if it does fall through there, again, no guarantees, but you got to think a lot of people will be looking to get short, play some puts. So keep a level or an eye on that. And then if the price does bounce upwards, you got that 50 period moving average there, which is currently valid at, let's just call it right up around the 950 mark. So that'll be a main area of resistance. But I think the most, I don't want to say important dynamic, but the most observed dynamic that people are going to be most interested in is all about that trend line right there. I mean, like I said, it doesn't get any cleaner than that. And when you have those clean trend lines, a bunch of people will be watching it. Next one, CABA, and interesting dynamic here. First off, because yes, the price has started to wake up, or not, excuse me, not the price, but the volume has started to wake up. But the price has also been behaving very nicely in kind of a more slow and methodical way. But when I do that, I mean, check out that nice overall uptrend. So you combine the overall uptrend with the fact that the volume really started pouring in today, and maybe today is some sort of leading indicator that there's some more movement to continue. Who knows? Maybe it's not. But like I said, just from at least worth keeping an eye on it, put it on the watch list. Yeah, I think that would make a whole lot of sense. Again, prices, until today was pretty quietly creeping upwards, but today made a lot more noise with that volume. So as long as the price stays above that trend line right there, then you got to give the bulls the benefit of the doubt. That the bulls and the momentum is staying healthy. Now, of course, if the price comes down there and then just crashes down through there, well, at that point, okay, well, kind of everything I'm talking about goes out the window. But as of now, the price is still above that trend line, so it at least makes sense to wonder, okay, is this the start of something? Is more momentum going to show up? And a very interesting level now, just based on the fact of where kind of the party stopped today was right up there at $5.30. So keep an eye on 5.30 as far as the resistance is concerned. But overall, yeah, quiet until today. Now more noise. Now it's really just a question of is today's volume going to draw in more attention from traders as they're doing their scanners and everything. So we'll see with that, or what happens with all that on Friday. Next one here, ticker symbol F for Ford, and overall a good start, and then you had this pretty big pullback, but has kind of been the theme. Yeah, looking at today individually, pretty crazy to think that the price was up there and then has pulled all the way back there. But I mean, has that destroyed the entire chart? It hasn't. I mean, the price is still up above the 50 period moving average. It's still up above the 200 period moving average. It's still up above, if you were to want to, draw on a trend line like there. So I mean, I get it. It feels pretty bad today. It feels like, oh geez, I don't think today's could have been any worse. Which is true. Today was rough, but let's look at more than just one day. And when you do that, you can see that there's still plenty of bullish dynamics here moving on. And also just from a overall perspective in terms of, do I think people had the ability to now draw that trend line? I absolutely do. I think that, even people with a basic understanding of charts and trend lines have noticed that trend line right there, which circles back to that whole self-fulfilling prophecy dynamic of things. So keep an eye on that trend line. And if the price does work its way up there, completely plausible to think that if the price can break up through there, that could create some upside pressure, which at this point I think is very possible. Just because you still do have plenty of bullish dynamics going on, but just because it's possible doesn't mean that'll for sure happen, which is, as always, why waiting for some sort of confirmation, such as the price getting back up to that area, would probably be smart. But that's also just a matter of your personal risk tolerance and your personal strategy. But overall, still an interesting pattern here. You got the well-defined resistance, potential breakout area. So let's see if the price can indeed recover back up and get the breakout on Friday. So that wraps up the top 10. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool and how it can be used, how it should be used to build consistency as a trader, then definitely get signed up for the class. It'll be this evening, Thursday, December 16th at 7 p.m. Eastern time. But like I said, if this is too last minute for you, or if you're just watching this on Friday morning, for example, or what the class has already taken place, then just go ahead, drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and let me know that, hey, I'd like a recording of it when you get it recorded and uploaded. And, I am more than happy to send you a link to that, which, again, it will be live, so I can't send it right away because, well, the event first needs to happen. But after I get it recorded and uploaded, I'd be happy to send that to you. So like I said, clay@claytrader.com. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy this format, if you would like for me to continue to make these videos, then please help me out with some easy communication. Hit that like button, leave a simple comment down below, even if it's saying hi. Tell me a ticker symbol that you're watching tomorrow. Give me an emoji, but hitting the like button, leave a simple comment, go a long way in communicating to me that you enjoy these videos. And as long as I know people are enjoying, then I will continue to put in, make the time and effort to do these videos. So again, hopefully I'll see you tonight at the class. If not, just drop me an email, clay@claytrader.com, and I'd be happy to send you a recording after it's completed. Everybody take care. Have a good one.